from the gospel that we just read, Jesus says a number of things about, but all of them, they say about really one thing, and it's that dichotomy between being a Christian but not acting like a Christian, or not being a Christian but acting like one. And it's so important to know that we have two levels of being disciples of Christ. First of all, to listen to Him, but also to do the words and the actions. And that is where He talks about good tree producing good fruits, not bad tree producing good fruits, or good tree producing bad fruits. And I think the question that is very, very fair that we should ask ourselves is, if I am a good tree, why do I produce bad fruits? And if I am that bad as I think that I am, why do I produce good fruits? And this is how we can measure how far we've gone with our Christian calling, answering God's call, is the fruits. The fruits. Matthew's Gospel, in the same passage, he talks about, why do you call me? It is not enough. It's not all who call me Lord, Lord, who would enter the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father. Luke puts it very, very gently. He says, not everyone who calls me Lord. No. Sorry. No. Why do you call me Lord and do not do what I say? Matthew puts it very, very hard. It's not all who say, Lord, Lord, who would enter the kingdom of heaven. And you see this happen everywhere, in every situation, that we find it is people who are involved in worse things in this world are actually Christians who are baptized. People who are involved in killings of one form or another, people who are even going against abortion, people who are going against some of the laws of the church are actually Christians, not Muslims, not pagans. Actually, pagans sit and they watch us and they laugh at us and say, how can they say they are Christians, yet they are acting like this? I remember when I was still in Kenya some few years back, and it was really a quarrel between two of my Christians. And it was a very funny thing, because it was just because I went to pray in the house of another Christian. And the other Christian said, why did you invite, the other Christian went to the other one and said, why did you invite Father to pray for you? Because they were having problems. And in the end, I was called to solve this problem. And it was a long, it was very complicated. But in the end, these two families, these two parents, we were sitting, and I was there, and there was a pastor from another church, and she had another Christian from that same church, because she was also involved in the issue. And then there were some other people who are non-church goers. And I remember after we were quarreling and exchanging words, and one of the guys who was outside, he doesn't go to church, said, is this how Christians live? I'd rather not go to church. Because you could see that it is true they are called Christians, and it is true for us as well. At the times we are called Christians, but what we do is not Christian. Because the first thing that we must know, Jesus expresses this, is that from the pool, from the hearts of goodness comes goodness. Because if it is true that we listen to the Word of God, it becomes a seed for a good tree. If it is true that we receive the Eucharist, it becomes the seed within us that produces good fruits. And it is true we receive the Word of God all the time. We listen to it all the time. Problem is, if we listen, do we hear it? Do we let it to sink into us? And we receive the Eucharist at all times. But what do we do with them? This is all connected also with the parable of the sower. Jesus says that some of the seeds fell on good soil and they produced good harvest. But there are some of the seeds which fell on thorns, others they fall on dry land and they don't have enough, they are picked up by the birds, and some fall on rocks and they don't have enough water to make them to grow. And that is true with the Word of God that we receive, the Eucharist that we receive. If we are truly disposed, if we are open to let this Eucharist to change us, to transform us, if we are open to let the Word of God to sink into us and to transform us and become a seed for a good tree, that is a real question. Because the tendency is to say, okay, we are Christians, we listen, but the thing is that we are not seeing the fruits in our lives, in our way of life, in the things that we do. And that is why it's a call for us as Christians and a reminder for us today. Jesus says, those who listen to my word and do it are like those who build on a rock. Even when difficulties come, even when the temptations to be able to give in to the devil comes, we are able to stand because we are founded on Christ. Psalm 125 verse 1 says that those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion that cannot be shaken. This is what Jesus brings out in the New Testament today, in Luke's Gospel. And he says that when we believe in him, when we listen to his word and we make it to take root in us, we become like a house that is built on a rock that cannot be shaken by the things that are happening around us, because we are founded on him and we have to produce good fruits. And then he says, those who just listen and do not let it to take root, then we become instruments of the devil. The devil can use us in the way he wants, because the seed has been planted, but it cannot germinate because the soil is not there. So my dear brothers and sisters, we must begin to look into the things that we do, the fruits that are coming out, and say, and try to do little experiments or little questions and ask, now, what have people been able to benefit? Am I a light to others? Am I generous to others? Am I kind to others? Do I love other people? When people find me, do they find peace? Or when people find me, they feel their peace has been taken away? Do I have patience in my life? Do I have self-control in my life? Am I faithful to the Word of God? Am I faithful to others? Am I true to myself? Am I true to others? And in this way, we'll be able to measure if we are truly good trees. And if we are good trees, there is no way we could yield bad fruits. If we are good trees, good fruits will come out of the tree. So let us continue to ask God for that grace, to remain faithful to him, and that our trust, not only just listening to the word, not only letting the Eucharist be taken as food and we get used to it and it's fine to receive it, but to let it to transform us. Let the word of God transform our lives, that we would truly be disciples of Christ in everything that we do.